Karen the Warp Spinster here. Welcome to my channel and thanks for being here. Last week we went through some possible layouts for what we have already pieced and learned some things, and one of them is that it needs, for the vision I have for it anyway, it needs what I'll call mid-blocks. So medium-sized, not small like some of these are, so medium-sized, and something that will help to transition from black to lighter to white, and then out to the surrounding area, which will be all white. So it's going to, at least in part, float in white. So I have all of these offcuts from doing these blocks, but today, because I want it to be more of a mid-block that we're working on, I'm pulling out some, these are actually leftover pieces of black, white, and there will probably be some grays in there, maybe, I don't know. We'll see as we go. So I'm going to start out with a piece that is, starts out as black, and then I want it to transition. So we'll start with this piece. I set out to cut a rectangular piece, just as a starting point, but when I made the first cut from the scrap that I had of black, I got this piece and I thought, I'll go with this, because in the end I want kind of a curve going up there of white anyway, so we'll just leave it maybe larger than I want in the end, but I can cut it back. And having this sort of shape also contributes to that, wanting it to sort of flow in that direction. So I am envisioning this to have quite a few curves in it. So it's going to start out with the solid black here, and it'll end up with white up here. So I'm just going to cut a curve in it, probably a pretty gentle curve. I haven't been sleeping particularly well, so, why challenge myself with a steep curve? So then I'm just going to insert white in there. I will hopefully leave a link to how I do curves down in the description. And so I will cut it. This side of the curve is already determined. We might change that. It may be this regular curve where it's a consistent width, or I may change that just because this is improv and nothing turns out the way you start it to be. So this is just my standard way of doing curves. I'll insert some white in there. One thing I'll note, because I don't think I had this in my curved video, I should update that video. I used to mark the edge here where these two are going to meet. This is the piece I'll be sewing. And I found that, just getting the angle right was confusing. So I now actually just drop it down a little bit so that I can match up those points, and I'm not worrying about angles and where exactly that end point was. So I have learned to mark it just a little further down. My preference remains to have the convex on the top. So now I will sew. Here is one side of the curve stitched, and I haven't cut the second side yet because I think I want to just cut in a little bit of a tiny curved piece in here. We'll see. I may have to take out this curve and do another one, but I think I just want just a little bit of black in there. Oh, maybe a little bit of gray. Yeah, let's do a little bit of gray in there. See how that works. Progress. Then I will fit this back on, and I want it to be like 1/4 of an inch-ish. Now, when I cut the next curve, I will try to include this. If I were to follow this curve, I'm going to lose most of this. So the curve that cuts into this, again, will be something more like this, so that I keep some of this. I'm going to lose some of it, but I knew that, and in improv, heck, I knew I might lose the whole thing. So that is not going to be probably a consistent curve. or it might be just a little wider than I'd envisioned it to begin with, but I'm good with it. It's just a little something unexpected, and I like to do that in improv because it's improv and I can. All right, we have our unexpected piece in here. Now I want another curve of white. And we have this much black here. Let's put this here. So I'm going to insert another strip of white here. I just happened to have cut one when I cut the last one. And I might even do another one here, which is a narrow white, but we can decide that later. And cut this white as wide as I reasonably can so that I can have it wide if I want it to be, or I can make it narrow. Save this piece for later. Sure, there will be something I can use it for. Mark the match. And so that's it. Admit right now it looks a little bit like a witch's hat, but I'm thinking I might want to do another strip of gray, but going this way. Let me think. If this is thinking about it going this way. Okay. So that is moving toward, in fact, I should trim this off because I know that's going to confuse me. And yes, most often I would leave that, but this time I know it's going to confuse me. Just a reminder, my spatial relationship skills are not great. So this would be like this. This is heading up that way. So if I were to say do this piece here, then do I want another strip in here? I don't think so. I think I'll just do this strip of white, but I think I want to have some white pieces going toward, say, a point there. This is what the end white piece is going to be. Probably it could be gentler than that, not sure yet, but I do want some pieces, and they may not be going in a uniform manner like fanning in or fanning out. They may be kind of haphazard. I don't know how any of this is going to look. Just be thinking about what you might want to do with it, but I do think so. Because I don't want it to go all the way through, I'm going to cut another curve here, and let's give it plenty of room. So then I can cut pieces into this, have another probably white piece in there, and then have that be white. Or maybe those will just transition into a white strip here. We'll see how that goes. I have done 3 here in keeping with my odd number of pieces, and there will be a white strip going in there. But I am wondering if maybe, I haven't sewed this curve yet, obviously, but maybe I would put in a gray strip here, maybe even a couple as sort of shading before I go into the white piece. Then just do a small bit of black before I go to white. And hopefully that will be a transition. And this, I think, actually will be a pretty wide strip of white because that will be a better transition. May not turn out that way, but that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Nothing has ended up quite as I had first envisioned it, so we will see, but I'm wanting to preserve as much of the size as I can, because it gives me more to work with. So I think that's about where that curve's going to be. So I will cut that and sew it and take it from there. The neighbor was mowing his lawn right next to the window, so I didn't really want to film that. So I went ahead and just did some things. I changed my mind about the gray. I may still do some here, uncertain yet. I was thinking, though, that I might, what if I put a white strip through here? And it might not be getting wider out here, but that might help in the transition. And then when this curve was added on, I mean, I'd split that, I could shift it a little bit, or it would already be shifted just by virtue of having an uneven curve put in there. So that's a possibility. It might transition better than that. I could also put something down here, or I could cut something through. If I did that, it might be something more like this that was a gray, because this will probably be meeting black, and this is part of the transition that I want. So I'm probably going to leave it at this because I want to leave options open. This I'm liking better for a transition because it's moving from a lot of black to much more white. And I think that's probably what I want. And I've got lots of options left here. I have all of this. I've left this as a large piece, which gives me, of course, more options. I'm always trying to leave my options open where I can, or where I'm not certain already what I want to do with it. That's going to be it for the dark deco for now, but I did want to show you some pieces that I'm putting together for a smallish, I guess, probably 2 feet square is what I'm envisioning. A smallish improv quilt in preparation for maybe doing a class on getting started in improv. Not sure yet, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it's colors I don't usually do because I realized that I need some fall quilts in my house. I have a lot of spring and summer kind of things and Christmas, but I need something for fall. So this is aiming for that, and let me grab a few of those pieces. Pardon the unpressed background, but I just grabbed it because the background on this will be white, and it's a little easier to see things against the white instead of the green cutting mat. These are the first 2 pieces that I did. And I started out with fairly good sized pieces, and then as I began to cutting things up, slicing things in, I started to use the bits and bobs left over from that. And then I had lots of bits and bobs. I still have lots of bits and bobs. So I started making some pieces from that could be inserted anywhere. I don't have enough pieces yet, and so that's probably not the way that it would go, but starting to do some more pieces. Here's a piece that I thought might be kind of fun with a circle on it somewhere. And this is becoming more like, I don't want to say a grid system, but more blocky than some of the improvs I do, partly because doing the fillers and all of that is a little, it's easier if you have some more experience doing it. And for this beginning class, I wanted it to be not quite so daunting at the end. I want them to see the end coming and be happy with what they have there. So, it doesn't hurt me to do that, because that's not usually how I work with improv. And, I would like to do that, just to try it out for myself. So those are a few of the pieces. And then I started just doing itsy bitsy things, which will maybe come together later. But then I decided, well, I need to go back to some large pieces too. So I did this piece, which I just love. And then this piece, which I just showed you, could fit in there. And then I can see some more fans coming out from that, some more fan shapes. I don't know, that made me my favorite improv thing I've done yet. And of course, we've got all of these other pieces that could fit in here too, somehow or other. So I'm having a lot of fun with this. Just playing and trying to do some things that are fairly easy and basic for someone who hasn't done improv before, maybe hasn't really done anything with modern quilts. So I would start out with lots of straight lines and splicing and all of that, and then start to get into some gentle curves. So I don't know, I think it'll be kind of fun, if nothing else. And it's nice to work on a little smaller piece. I tend to think larger. And you saw what happened with Alice. Started out pretty small, and then she grew. She drank this, whatever it was. Or did that make her smaller? I don't remember. Anyway, something made her larger. And I guess that's it. I'm really loving this. And these, as I said, are not my usual colors. I don't even remember why I have these solids. What was I making? So I needed these solids. Don't remember. Anyway, this I think is my favorite piece ever, and I like all of these as well. I think that will be it for this week. Next week, we might do some more of the dark deco. Maybe I'll do some more on this with you. Let me know what you'd like. I know you won't let me get away with not finishing up the dark deco. But if you'd like to see something interspersed, let me know. And let me know what you think about this. It could just be fun all around, don't you think? Could tie those two pieces together, or do one up here. You know me and my circles. All right, I hope to see you next week. In the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.